You know, many people thought we'd see a baby boom during the coronavirus lockdowns. It turns out, though, it was more of a bust. The CDC says births declined by about 8% in December. That's when babies conceived at the start of the pandemic would have been born. The health crisis was just one of many factors that deepened declining birth rates. Still, women were having babies, including myself. As many of you know, I returned from maternity leave just a short time ago. Our little daughter Lily was born in early February. She has brought so much joy to our lives. So I spent most of 2020 pregnant, working from home, and homeschooling my older daughters. It's a grind so many of you are very familiar with, and like me, you probably experienced a range of emotions, like these Houston area moms you're about to meet. You know the saying, there's no perfect time to have a baby, but for people who had those pandemic babies, their experiences were truly unique. Already a mom of two, last February, Erica Zarante and her family were excitedly preparing to welcome baby number 3.
I think it would be so much more difficult for a first-time mom than for a seasoned veteran like myself.
But even this seasoned veteran couldn't have prepared for what developed during her last few weeks of pregnancy.
I just remember going at my 36-week appointment and seeing my doctor and it being like, this is no big deal. And then she was wearing an N95 and another mask at the 38-week appointment, and things just increasingly got, maybe this is going to be something significant.
By the end of March, the U.S. had declared the coronavirus a national emergency, and Harris County had issued a stay-at-home order as the COVID-19 pandemic took its toll.
It was at a time where different hospitals were enacting policies that were intense, where women were having babies alone, and I really was scared that I was going to have to do that.
Thankfully, when Erica went in to deliver, she was able to bring along her husband, and on March 26, 2020, they welcomed Rocco Rex Zarante.
Well, my husband and I had to do in vitro fertilization, IVF.
Christy Calloway's journey to get pregnant wasn't easy, and the pandemic created another hurdle last spring, suddenly forcing her fertility clinic to shut down. But then
there was a brief period where the restrictions lifted on what they called non-essential medical procedures. And so we basically slipped in right in time before they shut everything down again and had the embryo transfer done.
But feelings of joy were dampened with concerns. Christy's pregnancy was considered high risk, making it more crucial for her and her husband to isolate. But for this Houston native who had just moved to Corpus Christi, it was also difficult being far from friends and family.
I had imagined what pregnancy would be like, and that involved going shopping for baby clothes with my mom and my grandma, and that involved having a big baby shower, and none of that happened.
Despite the isolation, Christy herself contracted COVID, adding another layer of concern.
It was a pretty rough case.
Thankfully, Christy recovered and was able to pass along some antibodies to her baby before she delivered. Emmett James Calloway entered the world on February 12, 2021.
Being in the house together, me and my husband, we both work at home at that time. I think it probably contributed a little bit to...
Getting pregnant was a welcome surprise for Felicia Perez and her husband, but with the excitement of a baby came anxiety for the first-time mom.
And it kind of got claustrophobic being indoors a lot, and I second-guessed myself all the time going to the grocery store.
Felicia did enjoy the perks of working from home.
I've been able to take care of my body more. I mean, it saved me a bundle on work attire, like having to get maternity clothes for work.
And like many women pregnant at the time, typical celebrations were anything but typical, including Felicia's drive-by baby shower.
People driving by and honking their horns, and we had balloons, we had a backdrop, we had hot cocoa.
And when the big day arrived,
it was just the two of us, but of course our family couldn't be there, so that was kind of sad.
Still grateful, though, to hold their healthy baby in their arms. Adina Rose Perez, born March 10th, 2021. Okay, so it wasn't all, nervousness and anxiety. Tomorrow we're going to tell you about what the moms are doing with their babies after their babies were born, handling that whole situation. But, for a lot of them, they said this was equally kind of the craziest time and the best time to have those really special moments with their kids.
Yeah, I can imagine, especially in the early days of the pandemic, how chaotic it must have been. So I certainly feel for all the new moms out there.
Absolutely.